Hi there, I'm Dillon Johnson, golf fitness professional with FULE. We are always going to encourage you to eat right, exercise, and of course, warm up prior to your play. In this next video, we're going to discuss how do you warm up when you get to the course, what do you do, and why is it going to be beneficial to your game. Let's go ahead and get started. What I'd love for you to do is to really think about warming up from the ground up. Okay, so meaning just like in our golf swing, the lower body should initiate your downswing. So let's start with that from the beginning and warm up that way. So starting from the ground up, let's go ahead and look at our ankles first. What I'm first going to do is what I call a big ankle circle. I'm going to go the biggest circle I can create with my ankle, take it back the other direction. I'm going to get somewhere around 10 a direction, and then I'm going to point down, point up, point down, point up. And of course, I'm going to repeat on the other side. Moving up my body, the next area I really want to loosen up is my hips. Okay? The hips are what are going to allow you to turn through impact, okay, versus slide through impact. And same thing in regards to your backswing. Rather than swaying in my backswing, I want to rotate my hips. So we need to make sure that they are properly warmed up and lubricated for that. Okay? You can use a golf club, whatever you would like to stabilize. We're going to start with what we call a leg swing. Okay, so I'm swinging my leg through, my hips are turning, somewhere again around 10 to 12 a side. We're going to stick on the hips just a little bit longer. Our next one we're going to call on the horse, off the horse. The absolute highest I can get my knee, as if I'm putting my leg up and over a horse or over a fence. Okay, my hip joint inside that, or my femur inside of that hip joint, we're just getting it ready for action. Okay, you're going to feel really good getting these loose. Of course, repeat on both sides. Then moving our way up, let's go into a 5-iron posture. Pause. And from here, what I'd like you to do is try and turn your hips through to the target, turn them into a backswing. And as I'm doing that, I'm going to try and keep my upper body pretty still. So I'm really turning on some neurological characteristics as well, and getting my mind to think about separating your upper and lower body, which is a great power producer and a consistency producer. Hey, if I have the ability to get to the top of my backswing, turn my hips separate from my spine, I can create a lot of club head speed, but most importantly, I can be really consistent in my play. Okay, so my hips are nice and loose. We're moving our way up the chain. Let's now look at our spine. I'm going to have you go into a 5-iron posture, hands behind the head. I'm going to rotate my spine, in this case, as far as I can, backswing and follow through while pulling my elbows back. I'm going to try and keep my hips pretty stable, okay, but they're probably going to come along a little bit with you here. Okay? Moving right on from there, we're also going to loosen up those hamstrings. When you're in a 5-iron posture, okay, the tension, or any posture, the tension in those hamstrings can be a problem if we don't have them warmed up and ready for that. Okay, meaning if my hamstrings are tight and I'm coming down through into an impact position, my body is thinking about nothing except for getting out of that position the entire time. Okay, so in this case, if my hamstrings are loose, I can stay down on the ball versus standing up and falling towards the ball and early extending. Okay, so make sure those hamstrings are loose. We're here. Go down until you feel the hamstring stretch, come back out of it. Feel the hamstring stretch, come back out of it. And repeat again, somewhere around 10 or 12. Okay, we've got our ankles, our hips, our mid-spine, and we've got our hamstrings loose. Now let's go ahead and look at the shoulders and the shoulder blades themselves. Okay, so in this next one, when you come into a downswing, let's go ahead and face this way so it's easier to see. When I come into a downswing, my body has to have the ability to rotate that shoulder to drop the club into what we call the slot. Okay, we've all heard the slot many times. That's what allows us to come in on plane versus coming over the top is range of motion in those shoulders. Okay, so let's go ahead and loosen that up. I'm going to go into a 5-iron position. I'm going to pull my shoulder blades apart, squeeze them together, pull them apart, squeeze those shoulder blades together. The reason we're loosening up the shoulder blades is the shoulder blades, okay, in the middle of your back, assist your shoulders. And if we can get those loose, your shoulders are going to do better. Okay? From here, we're gonna simulate that shoulder rotation I showed you in the downswing by rotating back as far as I can, rotate down as far as I can. Back and down. Okay, so we're just getting that range of motion ready to go. Okay, so we've isolated each segment independently now. What we're gonna do right at last is kind of integrate it all together into a nice big body movement. You really wanna be feeling a sweat. You wanna feel your heart moving before you go and play golf. When you see the pros out on the range, that's exactly what they've done before they got to the range. The range is not their warm-up, okay? They warm up before they get there. The range is there to dial in their golf swing specifically. Okay, so our last few here, we're gonna call this a step back lunge with rotation. Step back, rotate towards that front leg, back up. Step back, rotate, back up. Somewhere around 8 to 10 per side here again. Then we're gonna work on a little weight transition along with our spinal rotation. Side lunge, rotate towards that leg, back up. Side lunge, rotate, back up. And lastly, where you produce a lot of power in your golf swing is through those legs. Let's just go with a regular old body weight squat. Down and up, I'm pressing through the heels, just as if I were pushing through the earth down at that golf ball. And I promise you, if you warm up properly and you go to hit your first shot on the range, you're gonna feel so much better. Okay, so that will fly by quickly once you get the hang of it. It'll take you less than 5 minutes. And if you need to prioritize warming up or hitting golf balls, warm up. You're gonna be glad that you did. Enjoy.